We'll roll into our next availability with the driver of the number 4 Mobile One Ford for Stewart-Haas Racing, and that's Kevin Harvick, winner at Texas, clinching another spot in the championship for Kevin. Mindset going into this weekend, knowing that the pressure is off.
Well, I think it transfers over to thinking about this race next year. I think it's the first step in a process of kind of putting Phoenix at a different level for us as far as preparation and the things that we do that come with that, so that when we come back, we have a firm understanding of where our simulation and things are for this particular racetrack, and start that process going into the first race and the second race for next year. So it's obviously been a great racetrack for us, but we've never actually, had that type of preparation as we've gone into that, knowing that the championship is here next year. I think that it kind of moves into a different category as far as the things that we're going to do.
Thank you, Kevin. And if you have a question, raise your hand. We'll start over here with Michael Knight.
Hi, Kevin. Michael Knight with the Arizona Republic. Since you have the luxury of knowing that you're in next week, have you given any thought to not only Truex but the other drivers who are in contention, and think about what their potential strengths or weaknesses are at Homestead, and then compare that to what you think yours are and your teams?
I have not.
Okay, we go to over here to Pat, and then Jeff, and then Bob.
Pat DeCole, NASCAR.com. We're race 35 out of 36 here. Are there aspects of your team that you're still trying to shore up before we get to Miami, or are you guys just kind of rolling with what you have?
No, I think it's been a very interesting year for us. I think as you look at our year, it's been a challenge in order to get where we are today, just to battle through the beginning of the year and get the ship turned around and in the right direction, and really figure out exactly where we needed to be, what we needed to be doing. Just totally different concepts than the things that we've done in the past, and just those new concepts, mindsets, way that you race, way that you call a race, all those things that come together. I think that the strength and experience of our race team has kind of carried the results, that are in the finish column and the stages won and stage points and those types of things. And as we went through the late summer and into the playoffs, I feel like, we obviously have got our cars back to, being competitive. And when I say competitive, I mean able to lead laps without circumstances. And so we've been able to do that. And so, as long as we keep doing those types of things, next week, I think that you got to be in it to win it, and you just have to see how it falls.
Jeff Clark from The Athletic. So you immediately came in and said, talking about next year. Does the win last week completely free you up to do that, or would you have still done like some element of that had you not won and had to perform this week? Be the same thing.
It would have been the same, because that's just how, I guess that's how we're wired. You have to think about what you're doing a long ways in advance, and it's from scheduling, from a car standpoint, with the less cars next year, the types of racetracks, simulators, all those things have a schedule that's attached to them. It's not something that, for me and my team, it's not something that you want to try to do 6 weeks in advance. It's a process to try to get the most out of everything that you do, and have some sort of organization and thought around it in order to go to the simulator and try to make it relevant to what you do at the racetrack, and then your simulation and your aero maps and all those things that come with the things that you do. It would have, if the race still has the same meaning, and we're still going to approach it the exact same way that we would have if we hadn't have won, just because of the fact that, that's just what we do every week. And I know you guys have heard me say that we don't prepare any different whether we win or lose. We might do things differently to the car, as far as setups and the way that they're built and things like that. But, the conversations and preparation are going to happen on the same days at the same times. And you can't do the type of preparation that you would do for a championship race like this next year, overnight. So you have to have a plan.
Bob?
Bob Pockris, Fox Sports. In the last couple of weeks, there have been cautions brought out by guys who appear possibly spun out on purpose with a flat tire. Is this anything that NASCAR needs to address and step in on?
I haven't even seen the replay, so I wouldn't even be able to comment on it to see if it was on purpose or not. So I didn't even watch the race. Yeah, I don't know. I have enough trouble paying attention to my team.
Let me ask it this way. If you looked at somebody's data, would you be able to know if they spun on purpose or not? Everybody now NASCAR has access to everybody's data.
I don't want to get in the middle of having even a comment on the whole situation.
Go to Claire.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. You seem particularly serious today, and that would be typical Kevin Harvick with the game face on, either because you have won and done so well at this track, and this will be the finale next year, or because you're thinking so seriously and already got that extra mentality for the playoffs. What is it today? Like, what's on your mind?
I don't really have, it's really the same approach. Like, it's an hour before practice, so I'm just thinking about, what we need to do to our car and talking to the guys of the things that we need to go through. So more than anything, it's just really interrupting my routine more than anything.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Because you say being in control is what
Yeah.
Jenna, and then we'll go to Dustin. Jenna, want to raise your hand?
Both hands.
Hey Kevin, you've been relevant so long and in the championship picture consistently. Is there any sort of internal pressure on you to keep performing at that level and to stay in that group right there at the top?
I think that the competitive side of me would tell you yes, just because that I don't really want to race for 20th, and that challenge of like the things we went through this year is definitely, it's somewhat interesting to me just because of the fact that you have to really get in there with your guys and be a part of the process and routine of things in order to change something. And so it's been challenging, but it's also been a little bit intriguing to me just because of the fact that you want to try to fix things and make them better, and I feel like we've done a good job at that. But I think for me, being competitive is really the thing that keeps me motivated. I love the fact that things change so much that you have to be open-minded to change. And I always tell the guys in our trailer that you have to be open-minded in this sport or you'll get left behind. So yeah, it's been fun to win races and be competitive, but it is definitely something that I think about every day. I want to be competitive, and in order to do that, sometimes people put, they pay attention to an age or a stat, and I hadn't looked at a stat or watched a race, and I can't even tell you how long, because I'm just worried about what we're doing and trying to get better and really focus on a week-to-week basis and worry about the rest of it when you get done.
He's got to put everything he has into it, and he feels like that's come at the expense of his family and his children. So how do you think about it every day and compete at this level and not sacrifice in other areas?
Yeah, I would probably never tell you this otherwise, but David and Reagan and I have had this exact conversation together as to why he was retiring. He told me the exact same thing, and it's much different. I feel like I have a great group of people around me that really help handle the sponsors and the situations that we're involved in on a daily basis, and I trust those people. Some of them have worked for me for almost for over 20 years. A couple of them for over 12. So it's it's a situation where I have a lot of trust in them. They know exactly what I expect and how things work. I have a crew chief who has a family. I have team members who have a family, and during the week there's a lot of text and a lot of emails, and I go to the competition meetings after I drop my son off at school, and so everything that we do is prioritized around my family, and you've seen him at the racetrack a lot now that Piper's old enough to go to the racetrack and sleep normal. So, my kids run around the trailer. Can't do that in everybody's trailer in this garage. It wouldn't be acceptable. But it's a very family-oriented situation that I'm in, and I think that, they understand that if it's something that I feel like it's affecting my family to that point that I probably won't do anymore. So, they want them to be around. They would obviously, want their kids around if they had the same opportunities to do that. And for me, I feel like, we've got different opportunities than David. David was handling the sponsorship and at the shop and making a lot more decisions than I have to make, because we're fortunate to be in a different situation with the right people that you have a lot of trust in and faith in to do those things that he was doing. But he was putting a lot of effort into it. Yeah.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. You had talked last week at Texas just about, thinking back to the win here in 14 and the pressure situation and what that meant to you to carry you on. And, you're the only one who has raced their way in at this race into Miami. Are you surprised about that, or why is that you're the only one who's done that in all the years so far of this format?
Actually, I felt like we were in a worse spot last year with all the chaos of the the inspection violation and just the team not being here, and with Rodney not being here, and all the things that we we had totally disrupted from a great year into the week before the championship race, and just everything kind of getting out of sync. And in 2014, everything was in sync. We had some unfortunate timing of things, but there wasn't. I mean, we probably could have won every race in the playoffs except Martinsville or Talladega, if we hadn't had something go wrong or screwed something up. And so, I felt like we had everything in place to do that in 2014 at arguably one of our best tracks. Now knowing that you have it all in place and going out and doing that is different. So, but we've been fortunate to have done that at Dover and Kansas and Phoenix and a lot of places. Sometimes I feel like our team kind of thrives on those moments and just really gets the most out of everything, and probably a little bit more just with the way that we've been able to achieve in those moments. And there's no better high than that, from a competitor standpoint, and just achieving in those moments when everybody's kind of laughing and thinking that they've got you pinned down and out of the game. Next thing you know, they're out of the game, and you're back in.
We got time for one more. We'll go to Lee and wrap it there.
Oh, you're fine.
Lee Spencer, RacingBoys.com. Chase Briscoe said you've been very gracious mentoring him. How important is it, especially someone of your stature, to kind of pass down what you know and what you've learned to the next generation of racers?
Yeah, for he and Cole, it's been fun to watch them learn. Both of those guys are, they're very willing to ask questions and be around and do what they need to do to get better. A lot of times the things that I, tell Chase or Cole may not be the right thing for them, but they're willing to at least ask the question and try things, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But a lot of times what they do in a race car, and I feel strongly that everybody likes something different in their cars and the things that they do, but the most important thing is for them to understand that they're a piece of the process, working with their crew chief and their team, and the things that happen in that communication, sometimes, most of the time, sends the organization in a direction of what they work on. So, it may not be telling them how to drive the car or what they like in a car. Sometimes it's just, how the world turns in our sport and the things that change and how you have to communicate. It's not just show up and drive, and the car has become more important through the years, but in the end, you still send them in a direction of what they need to work on and how they need to make things better, and I think that's important for those young guys to understand. But we have two of the most willing and hardworking Xfinity drivers in the garage. Those guys bust their butt.
Thank you so much, Kevin. Good luck this weekend.